Hi, my name is Eric. I'm a writer here at Crutchfield, and today we're going to talk about the Rotel A11 Tribute integrated amplifier. We're pretty excited to be partnering with Rotel. They are a family-owned company. They've been doing this since 1961, and it's going to be great to have some of their stuff on board. This is their entry-level integrated amplifier. It's been around for a while, but it was recently redesigned by the late, great, very famous audio engineer Ken Ishiwata, and that's why they call it the Tribute. They asked his family if, since he spent some of his last days working on it and upgrading it from top to bottom, if they could call it the Tribute in honor of him, and his family agreed. This is Rotel's entry-level integrated amplifier, and it offers you 5 inputs, all analog, including a phono input, which is very important to me and probably to some of you. It's got A and B speaker outputs so that you can hook up 2 pairs of speakers, and those speakers will be driven by 50 watts of very clean power from one of Rotel's custom-made toroidal transformers. It's also got Bluetooth for the convenience of streaming, and that's aptX Bluetooth, which is very high quality. So I got a chance to take this model home for a couple of weeks and try it out and really put it through its paces, and I really enjoyed that. I had a pair of Bowers & Wilkins 606 S2 speakers, bookshelf speakers, to hook up to it, and they sounded great with the power that this provides. One of the things that I like to do is always hook up my turntable, and as I mentioned, this has a phono input for moving magnet cartridges. So I was able to listen to one of my favorite albums to kind of test out, see what I can hear, and that's Herbie Hancock's Headhunters. I really got a chance to hear a lot of the detail that can get lost if you're going with a lesser power supply or a lesser integrated amplifier. Because I was getting such good power, I was able to get a really nice bass and some nice low end from the speakers, and also a nice sense of spaciousness. We talk a lot about the sound stage of a recording, where you can place the instruments in space. This is supposed to be over on the left, this is supposed to be over on the right, but I also just felt like I was in the room with the band while they were playing. At the same time, I also had the Rotel CD11, which is also a Tribute component and kind of a sister component to this one. So I was able to listen to recordings on CD that were very different, like came from very different eras, which is something I like to do to kind of test out how different production styles sound. And something that I really liked about the way these components work together is that they got out of the way. The recordings sounded the way they were supposed to sound. If it was during an era where there was lots of production, then you could hear kind of what the engineer was doing. If it was something like the John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman album, which I really enjoy, that was remastered from analog into digital, you still hear kind of the spare sound that Impulse used when they were making those recordings back in the 60s. I guess the upshot of that is that these components let your music sound the way it's supposed to sound, the way the artist originally intended. A lot of what happens with this component happens on the inside. It's things you can't see that make it special, and that's what Rotel calls their balanced design concept. They're very choosy about the components inside, how they lay out the circuit pathways, and they want to make sure that everything makes your recordings sound better and certainly does not generate any noise that would make them sound worse. There's a few things about this component that, being able to use it myself, I really appreciated. One thing is that you can dim the display if you want to, and sometimes I find the display gets a little distracting if it's too bright, and you can really tone this one down. Also, speaking of quality components, I really like the binding posts that they use here. It's easy to get the wire in, and the action is very smooth as you loosen and tighten it. If you like to get hands-on, there are some buttons on the front that you can use to do just about anything you want to do, but if you like to sit in your chair instead, it also comes with a remote that will do everything that you want it to do as well. There's also a set of stereo preamp outputs, which is great if you do want to use a separate Rotel power amplifier. You can just run the signal to that, or you can use it to connect to a powered subwoofer. There is a headphone jack on the front, and it's kind of interesting. You can, when you plug in your headphones, the speakers that you have connected will still continue to play. You can use them both at the same time, which is not always the case. All told, this was a nice introduction to Rotel's approach to great sound. If you have any further questions about Rotel components, please contact us here at Crutchfield.